Coach's Corner is brought to you by Capital Investment Advisory Services.
Hello and welcome into another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Mitch Stewart, and alongside me here this morning is head coach Dan Bremner. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Mitch.
So Dan, let's look back at last weekend, that trip to Knoxville, the first place Ice Bears. You guys played pretty well on Friday night, got to the last couple minutes, made a few mistakes, and a 1-goal loss. Saturday got off to a great start again, and then it just kind of slipped away down the stretch. What do you think kind of factored in to those two results not going your way?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in a hole for a little while here, kind of slumping, and it gets harder and harder as that slump goes on to kind of dig yourself out of it. The Friday night game, I thought, we played pretty well. You know, you put up 4 goals and you expect to win a game. There was a couple goals that you can't blame on a goalie, but there's a couple that you need to have a timely save. It's been that way for us the last little while. Is inconsistencies with different parts of our game, and there's games earlier on this in this slump where our forwards or D weren't showing up for our goalie, and I think this weekend was a little bit vice versa, where we were going pretty good up front. We had some dominant stretches of ozone possession time, and then the penalty trouble at the end of Friday nights, which whether you think it's a good call, bad call, whatever, you put yourself in a position to be down with two minutes left, and then of course getting the extra one to put us down 5-on-3 right to the end of the game just makes it almost impossible to pull any points out of that. Going on to Saturday, great start. Again, I thought we outshot them pretty heavily, and then like the second period might have been the most best puck possession dominant period that I've seen a team go 0-4. Knoxville scored 4 goals, starting with that Michigan goal behind the net right to start the period, and they fed off that, but we dominated ozone time. We had our shots, and the puck was just not going for us, and then they'd come down and sting us with one after having 7 minutes of possession. It was one of those games that just it wouldn't go for us, and it seemed like everything they were putting on was finding a way through.
Well, CJ Valerian ended up making his professional debut with the Dawgs this past weekend, and on his first pro shot, he's able to net his first professional goal. I thought he had a pretty solid weekend. How would you assess his play in his first 2 games as a professional player?
Yeah, he stepped in with a lot of confidence, and it's good to see. We talked ahead of time about new guys coming in can sometimes be timid vocally, not wanting to demand the puck, and he was far from that. That first one, a great cutback from Jansen, and then we heard him all the way from the bench. He found that seam in the offensive zone, and he was yelling for it, and he wanted it, and right time, right place, and found himself in a good spot to finish off the play. Beyond that, he stepped in, and you take the goal. It's great that he scores in his first shift, and pretty exciting. But he actually played a pretty just a good solid game all the way through. Good reads on jumping to take away possession from Knoxville on rotations low. He would kind of anticipate it and jump ahead of the play and kind of separate them from pucks. So it was good to see. I think he's a pretty high IQ player that we picked up. So I'm excited to see how he does this weekend.
One part of the Rail Yard Dogs game that has kind of hindered them the past few games, the power play. Ever since that military night win over Knoxville, where you guys had 3 power play goals, just 2 power play goals in the last 7 games, I've seen you switching out the personnel, trying to find that right combination, but what do you think is kind of missing from that unit as you try to kickstart the production back on the power play?
We're all well aware of that, and we're looking at things that we can switch up a little bit. But to me, you can switch up personnel, you can switch up breakouts and that, but really when we're looking at it, and we've talked this week, we kind of had a couple of little meetings here early this week about just the accountability that happens, and we went on a really good stretch there for about 2 months, and on our leadership group, that when things are going good, that's when you start to overlook that flyby, or that guy not going to where he needs to be exactly, and that accountability can slip, and it did, and we see it now in our power play when we have one guy battling against 2 when we're on the power play is just unacceptable. Everybody in the league is good enough to kind of force you to make these chips and dumps on the power play where you're not carrying full possession into the zone, which means regardless whether it's power play or 5-on-5, we need to find a way to make sure that we are getting that puck, retrieving that puck, and it's those details and habits, that accountability on our guys, and something that we spoke about, and I'm expecting much better effort this weekend.
So you all make the trip to Peoria this weekend. You all split with the Rivermen back in early January. What do you think are some of the keys to your success this weekend as you head out to Illinois?
Yeah, long trip on Wednesday, leaving early, getting in pretty late. But for us, the keys are like consistency. Down this whole stretch of kind of a bit of a slump that we're in, it's sometimes showing up with energy, sometimes not showing up with energy. So, part of our team showing up, part not, and it all comes down to like accountability to each other, and we need our whole team showing up, and we need our whole team showing up for 60 minutes. We talked about it when we played Peoria here. They're a team that are going to play 60 minutes no matter what. You give them that 10-minute lapse here or there, and they're going to sting you on it. So I'm looking forward to it. When we play these top teams, even like I said, I think we actually played a really good weekend up front in Knoxville. I'm looking for our goaltender to bounce back, and I think if we can put together a team effort like that for 60 minutes, we can compete with anybody in the league, and it's a good weekend for us to kind of test that and show it this weekend.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Dan, thank you so much for joining me here this morning.
Thanks, Mitch.
That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. Make sure to stay tuned later this weekend, Thursday night, Friday night, and Sunday afternoon, the Dawgs out west in Peoria to take on the Rivermen for a 3-game series. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Capital Investment Advisory Services,